Man, oh man, oh man, this Epstein thing just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Now, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino says he actually has a videotape that he's going to release publicly that will confirm that Epstein was by himself in his jail cell. Kash and Dan both went on prominent talk shows and got interviewed and spilled the beans on a lot. I'm going to share with you what Kash said about Epstein in his latest interview, as well as a bombshell said they've got enough on former FBI director Mr. Walk Down the Beach and Find My Beautiful Seashell Arrangement Comey. They've got enough, they've discovered rather enough evidence to perhaps, I think, put Comey away for a long time. Stick around for that. But let's start with Epstein. Holy macadamia nut. It's like, when is this going to finally be resolved? We've got Pam Bondi, who over a month ago promised, I'm going to release everything tomorrow, never released anything. We've got tons of documents, never heard anything. We've got tons of video footage. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's all going to come back. We got nothing. And then you've got Kash and Dan going on Maria Bartimoli. I know I'm ruining her last name. I apologize, probably butchering it. And saying this definitively. I'm going to share this clip right now. This is what they said on her show, and it was definitive. Watch, pay close attention to Dan Bongino's body language. Watch.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
So I did a video on that, and I expressed my obvious skepticism and my obvious, conclusion that was a very dubious kind of summation from them. I felt like, I just felt really disappointed because it just seems so obvious. Why were all the cameras shut down? Why did all the prisoners or the prison guards fall asleep? Everything just seems so convenient. You know this. I know this. I've talked to many prison experts, both guards and people who were actually on suicide watch. They said there's literally no way impossible. It is a 100% guarantee that you cannot do that to yourself if you were on suicide watch. Never mind the surveillance, never mind the guards, never mind the supervision, but the actual fact that you get literally nothing when you're on suicide watch that could ever give you the opportunity to do that to yourself. So that was very, very dubious. That was very disappointing. I know a lot of us were kind of wondering, well, guess what? Now there's this mysterious video that showed up. Listen to this. This is Dan Bongino just today saying this about the Epstein mystery is all I can say about it. Wow.
Those two cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't.
Right.
There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. There was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him.
Right.
There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
Wow, I've got so much to say about this. And why, by the way, the first thing that comes to mind, where was the mention of this video on the Maria show a couple of weeks ago? Why didn't you mention the video then? And you notice the demeanor change. He was very, very adamant that no, there's nothing there. It's all a done deal. Kash Patel was very concise, and it just seemed like he was withholding almost. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching there, but it seemed like Kash was like, there's nothing there. We're done. Hush is the word. Mum's the word. But he was very decisive in the first clip I earlier showed you on the Maria show, that he killed himself. Now he's saying, well, if you got something, show it to me. If there's something that you think that we're here to take tips. Now all of a sudden this video surfaces out of nowhere, showing conclusively that he was by himself, and he did, there was no help, and there was no murder, and that he actually unalived himself. Where was the mention of this video before? Okay, before I get into more question marks, and I know you got them too, let me know. By the way, the DOJ, the White House, Trump's people, Caroline Leavitt, they all watch this show. Let them know what you think. Let them know. We, the American people, have spoken. You and I, the American people, and also global citizens. We got great fans from Canada, Australia, the UK, South America, Europe, you name it, Asia. Let them know what you think in the comments down below. But I want to play for you what Kash said recently, just yesterday, with Brett Baer.
The Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever, but I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that, and it takes time.
The last thing that I would ever say is that I know anything about the bureaucratic, nightmarish, interoperability and bureaucracy of what's going on. I don't know what it's like to be an FBI agent. I don't know what it's like to be an intelligence officer. I don't know what it's like to be in the Secret Service or what have you. These guys obviously have been there. They have the resume. Never mind what Comey says. They've got the experience. So I wouldn't ever dare presume that I know what it's like and what they're going through and what they have to withhold, what they have to share, what they have to quote unquote clean up. Although I find that very odd to the way that Bongino said we're trying to clean up the video. I don't know. So I don't presume, and I always want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but there's just a couple of things that are very, very odd here. First is all the suddenness of this video. When we were told all the cameras were shut off, we were told that all the security guards fell asleep, and now there's this clear as day video, and for some reason you need to enhance it. We don't want to see it enhanced. Let's just make it public now. I mean, there's enough going on here. Then you just have their demeanor, their behavior, their just energy, my intuition. It's just telling me it's just very, very strange. He seemed more like he was trying to sell in the most recent clip versus the clip I played for you at the beginning of this video where he was just like, hey, he killed himself. That's it. I've seen the file. He killed himself. End of story. Now there just seemed to be a little more selling of like, I know people don't, I'm not asking you to believe me, but there's XYZ, there's a video, we're going to make it public, we're going to clean it up, we need time, we need this, we need that, but he didn't do it, he killed himself, that's the truth, I don't have anything, if you want to send me something, it just seemed like a lot more selling going on and just very, very strange. And I got to be honest with you, my instincts and what I'm kind of gleaning, I think Kash is being a lot more kind of astute or sort of judicious, if you will, kind of in his officious capacity. I don't believe Dan. I just don't believe Dan. I think Dan's giving away. So in other words, Kash is giving away nothing, I feel like. And correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. But I don't believe Dan. Dan, I feel like, is selling too hard the idea that he offed himself. There's something behind his demeanor, behavior, mannerisms, gesticulations, behind the eyes that tells me that he knows more than what he's letting on. And if he dares to let on or go public with any of this, his family and God knows what else could be in serious jeopardy. Again, I could be wrong. That's just how I feel. What do you think? Okay, now, Comey, I'm going to play this clip first. Yesterday, Comey slammed Bongino and Kash Patel for reopening investigations into the Biden White House, cocaine, January 6th, and the Supreme Court Dobbs leak. Even saying and identifying Kash calling him a podcaster. Watch this clip here, and then I'm going to share with you the bombshell that Kash and Dan both drop that I think warrants James Comey, former FBI director, to be sitting behind bars. But watch this first.
Something supported by a lot of conservatives out there. What do you make of this?
It's a little confusing to me, honestly. I'm sure it's a huge adjustment to go from being a podcaster to being the deputy director of the FBI, but I don't understand this tweet. First of all, I assume that the investigation of the pipe bomb that was found on January 6th was never closed. The FBI never closes such a thing, so I guess it means they're going to focus on it more. And as to the other things, I thought the Supreme Court marshal had investigated the leak of the opinion, the draft opinion. I don't know what the FBI's role is there. Cocaine at the White House, I thought the Secret Service investigated that, so I don't follow it and understand it. I also don't understand who the audience is for this tweet. The FBI often calls for public assistance or in matters of great public concern will announce an investigation to reassure the public. This seems much more narrowly targeted, maybe to a former podcast audience.
Okay, so obviously, Kash Patel has had years and years in the Secret Service and as a high-level intelligence official. It's just ridiculous that Comey would call him a podcaster. Here's Kash's response. Listen to this.
It's James Comey.
If he wants to come after me, no problem. I've been living rent-free in that guy's head for years, and that's just a bonus. Do you know how many copycats we've had to investigate as a result of that beachside venture from the former director?
Is that right?
Do you know how many agents I've had to take offline from chasing down child sex predators, fentanyl traffickers, terrorists? Because everywhere across this country, people are popping up on social media and think that a threat to the life of the President of the United States is a joke and they can do it because he did it. That's what I'm having to deal with every single day. And that's what I'm having to pull my agents and analysts off because he thought it was funny to go out there and make a political statement.
The 8647, the president said that he believed it was an assassination message. On assassination attempts, I did ask the president on the Middle East trip about this. Is there frustration on your part? Will we get transparency? Will we know the bottom line story?
It's very interesting because we have great people. I think Pam is incredible. I think Kash is incredible. I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is. We have deep-seated craziness in this country, and I'm relying on my people, and so far they're good. But so far and in this case it's Secret Service, they tell me it's fine. But it's a little hard to believe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I have to agree with the president. Definitely seemed like there was something untoward happening and something covert and conspiratorial happening at Butler. We were live during that event. It was probably the most traumatizing broadcast of my career. Here's Dan Bongino and what he has to say about Comey, and listen carefully to what he says the FBI have discovered. And then come on back. I've got Kash Patel talking about January 6th, but watch this first.
As of Jim Comey, because he cannot control himself and his emotions. He is a child. He is a big child. And let me tell you one more thing. Look at Jim Comey, who wants you to believe. Jim Comey taking a shot at the president. Oh, look at me. I'm such a victim. The president's going after me. He's making a ton of money on this book. The only person that got prosecuted was the president. Jim Comey, we're finding stuff even now. Wait till you read the stuff that's coming out.
Does he still have loyalists in the building? Because when I hear the FBI director saying, you guys are finding boxes that are hidden, okay, how does that happen in the Bureau?
Well, we were there a couple of weeks, and luckily there were a lot of people up there who grabbed us by the arm the minute we came in and said, thank you for being here. We need to talk. There are people there who are really horrified at what happened. And there was a room, and we found stuff, a lot of stuff.
A hidden room.
I wouldn't call it hidden, but hidden from us at least, and not mentioned to us. And then we found stuff in there, and a lot of it's from the Comey era, and we are working our damnedest right now to declassify. And just so you know, because I get the public, I totally understand people saying, well, do it now. The process is not all the information is ours to declassify. Some is other intelligence agencies. It's not, we literally can't do it. Once that gets done and that gets out there and you read some of the stuff we found that, by the way, was not processed through the normal procedure, digitizing it, putting in FBI records. We found it in bags hiding under Jim Comey's FBI. Quickly, you're going to be stunned.
The shells on the beach. Can you not talk?
So Bongino's saying that they found hidden boxes files that were hidden from Kash and Bongino in the Comey era that they're going to make public soon. What in the world could that possibly entail? Why would they hide it from Kash and Dan? It seems abundantly clear and obvious that there was some kind of corruption and fraud that they didn't want anybody to peel their eyeballs on other than himself and his underlings. Holy mackerel. Now, in this clip right here, Kash Patel talks about bombshell discoveries regarding January 6th. Watch this.
But more importantly, people have had questions about January 6th and whether or not there were FBI sources, not agents, sources on the ground during January 6th. And I told you I would get you the definitive answer to that, and we have. And we are in the process, again, of working with our partners to divulge that information, and it is coming. And I will tell you this. The answer to that question will surprise and shock people because of what past FBI leaders have said about it.
Former FBI Director Chris Wray eventually admitted to Congress there were 26 FBI confidential human sources in around the Capitol January 6th, but not actual agents. Can you say that's true? Are there more than that? What you're learning from that?
I can say that that is definitely a piece of the truth. Why it took a ton of time for and questioning in Congress for the director to get that point is what I'm trying to eliminate from the FBI. If Congress asks you a question under oath, whether or not there were sources in around January 6th at the Capitol, you as the director of the FBI need to know that and not deflect and give a DC answer. You have to be prepared for that. And that's the answer we're giving. That's the answer Chris Wray should have given.
And eventually everybody's going to know the whole picture.
Yeah, because the American people deserve that. And look, no one's more frustrated than me. Remember, I was chief of staff of the Department of Defense on January 6th. We said that we were ready, and the president had previously authorized the National Guard to be there days in advance. I spent 2 years, a small fortune, grand juries, to testify to the truth. And what happens now, years later? We were right. Bowser and Pelosi rejected that offer. And instead of figuring out how to prevent security lapses like that ever again, the American public spent tens of millions of dollars and countless hours on TV listening to conspiracy theories because those in positions of leadership failed to tell the American public the truth.
So everything's like future oriented. It's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. Well, I got to be honest with you. Well, first, let me say this. Do I have faith in Kash Patel? Do I have faith in Department of Justice? Do I have faith in Pam Bondi? Do I have faith in Dan Bongino? I have faith in my president. I have faith in the person that I voted for. I'm going to say this very carefully. I've lost faith. I don't know how careful that is. I've lost faith in the Department of Justice. I've lost faith in Pam. I've lost faith in Kash. I've lost faith in Dan. Do I still think they're good people, competent people? Do I still think they care? Yes. But do I think that something happened, that some power grab got a hold of them? I feel like something got, especially regarding Epstein. But I also, and maybe this is the careful part I'm referring to, but I also need to plead ignorance, and I need to be very highly cognizant of my ignorance of intelligence, apparatus, infrastructure, processes, systems, and bureaucracy. I can tell you, when I used to work in the public sector as a university professor, the bureaucracy was suffocating. So I can only imagine what it's like in the FBI. So I'm going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I do believe that what they have on Comey is factual. I do believe that what they have on January 6th and the authorization that the president gave is legit. I totally do. As far as Epstein, though, I really, truly feel this, Nez Nation, my fellow American citizens and global citizens, we're never, ever going to get to the bottom of it. And this was the closest opportunity we had with these people in place, with this president as the commander-in-chief. This is the closest we ever got. And we still don't have Nathan goose egg. I can't wait to get your thoughts on this. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you love America, tap that thumbs up. You can even do it on your remote. Tap the thumbs up. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps us immeasurably. I see you eyeing this amazing one-of-a-kind made in the USA design. Our shop is in the pinned comment. You can get one for yourself or as a gift. Father's Day is coming up. Just going to say, check out these videos coming up on the screen right here just in case you missed them. Tap my face right there to subscribe and follow. And as always, may God bless you. May God bless America. I'll see you soon.